Hello and welcome to the second video in this series on control structures. In this video, we'll focus on exploring Boolean expressions that can be used to make decisions. So we'll take a look at relational comparison operators and also discuss how and or logic plays into our decision making, our selection structures. We'll first just do a quick review over what we covered in the previous video in terms of making sure we understand the various structures that make up our program. So selection, sequence, and looping. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up a program, and I would like for us just to just take a quick moment to identify the structures that you see within this program. So this program, what it does is it allows the end user to enter any integer number, and the program is going to output all the even numbers up until the number that was entered by the end user. So let's just go through it from top to bottom, from the top of my main method to the bottom of my main method, and just identify all of the various structures we see. So the first one here, because remember declarations is a structure, so that's going to be sequence, we have our scanner object, sequence, and here we have our looping structure, which is a for loop. And we have another sequence embedded inside of that looping structure. Then we have a decision-making structure. And this would be specifically a single alternative. Then we have another sequence. Again, just a quick review over some of what we covered in the last video, but this is actually putting the Java syntax and identifying the various structures that we see within this program. So a number of different structures that complete this simple program that outputs all the even numbers up until a certain point. So let's jump back to our PowerPoint, and we're going to skip ahead here. Oops. So relational comparison operators. Most of your modern programming languages cover these 6 operators that you see here where my mouse is hovering. We've seen this before: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. The one that may be new is this not equal to, and we'll make use of this later in the course. But a number of decisions can be made with these operators, and truly you really only need 3, which is the less than, greater than, and then the equal to. These here just basically have what we call inclusion of a particular value, with where it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So with and, if we look at this this chart here, we have 2 conditions: calls made is greater than calls, and call minutes is greater than minutes. Both of these conditions have to be true in order to go into the block, in order to do the customer bill calculation. Another way of writing this same thing here is having having a nested loop, or I'm sorry, not a nested loop, but a nested decision structure. So you have calls made is greater than calls. If that's true, yes, go into the block and then make another decision. But a shorter way of writing this would be to just use the and operator instead of actually doing 2 different structures and having one nested. So if you are evaluating 2 conditions that must be true in order for something to happen, you can use the and operator. Here's just a chart that just details the different permutations for the and operator. So if x is true, if y is true, then both x and y will result in true. But if one of them is false, then it automatically makes it false. And so this may be helpful in terms of figuring out which particular conditions have to be true and have to be false. But with the AND logic, each Boolean expression must be true for the entire expression to evaluate the true. And so that's why we only have one true statement here. With OR, that's a little different, right? Only one condition has to evaluate to be true to go in the block. And so in this case here, calls made is greater than calls, or call minutes is greater than minutes. Both don't have to be true. As long as one is true, then it will evaluate to doing the customer bill calculation. And the same thing, here's a chart that kind of gives you the different permutations for what has to be true for it, both X or Y. And then here's a good example. Only one Boolean expression and or selection must be true to produce a result of true. So an example of that, are you free for dinner Friday or Saturday? Either or, right? And so if they say Saturday, then let's go and schedule the dinner. Or if they say Friday, only one has to be true, but both does not have to be true. Here's a quick activity I want to go over, and we're just gonna do every other alphabet, just to get some practice with some of these relational operators and also and or logic. So I'll say go ahead and pause this video and work through A, C, E, G, I, K, and M. So those are the ones that we'll work through here. So we'll do A. So number big. And so what we're doing here is that we're going to evaluate each expression or each statement here and determine whether it's true, false, or illegal. So number big is equal to number small. And let's just say that this is double equal sign, but so it's 300 equal to number small. And that's 5. And that's false. We'll do C. Number medium, which is 100, is less than number small, which is 5. And that's false. And then we'll do E. Number big, which is 300, is equal to big. So what we're doing is we're trying to compare a numeric value, which number big holds the value of 300, is equal to a string, and that's illegal. And then G here, word big, which holds elephant, is equal to elephant, and that's true. I, number big, is equal to 300. Number big, which is 300, is greater than or equal to 200, and that's true. We'll do K, number big, which is 300, is greater than number medium, and number medium is 100, and then number big is 300, it's greater than number small, which is 5. So here we have the AND operator that we have to consider. So 300 is greater than 100, that's true. And then we have to consider this, is 5 greater than 300, that's false. So that makes this whole expression false. And then the last one here is M, number big, which is 300, is greater than 10, or number small, which is 5, is greater than 10. And we have the OR operator that we have to take into consideration. So number small, 5 is greater than 10. That's false. But then here we have 10 is greater than 300. That's false. So that makes this false. Again, just some small practice with the relational operators, but also the and or operator. All right, so that's going to wrap up this video. And then in the next video, we'll get some practice with these relational operators and also making use of the and or operators as well. So stay tuned.